Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So basically, if you didn't hear me at the beginning, I basically read the first paragraph here. And we are recording this, so you will be sent a copy of this recording along with the assignment of some other videos to watch before next Thursday. We will be highlighting the tasks that need to be completed before we upload a backup. We'll be doing that, but at least you'll have to be aware of what takes place during the conversion of your data. Barb will be doing that verification process, and she will confirm before she delivers the converted data that the totals in the reports sync with the totals in the People's Choice Classic program. So at the end, we'll have a question and answer for things that we don't cover. The things that we want in the backup, and like I say, when I worked with a couple of you, we went ahead and uploaded a backup. We're assuming that if you had, it was in October, it was this week. So you probably have all of the payroll transactions done for September. The reason that'll be nice for the practice session is that way we'll be able to actually regenerate the third quarter 941 report in the new upgraded version where you can actually generate the 941 form. And we can compare that with your classic 941 report. It would be ideal if your bank accounts are reconciled. Not everybody maintains the checkbook. Some people just use the payroll. But if you've been doing the bank reconciliation in Classic, it would be ideal, although it's not critical that it's done, especially for this practice version. There's a few of you that are using accounts receivable. You do need to have all your undeposited receipts deposited before you submit your backup for conversion once we convert it. And that's going to have somewhat of a low priority here in the beginning because there's only some that use the accounts receivable. And so the class session where maybe we focus more on the receivable side of things, we'll announce that. And those of you who don't use the accounts receivable function in People's Choice Classic and don't plan to use it in the upgrade won't need to necessarily attend that particular class. Part of the process we'll be reviewing before delivering converted backup, this is stuff that Barb will be doing, is we'll go ahead and run W-2s as if it was the end of the year, and the tax liability reports and the equivalent reports in the upgrade versions to make sure the totals all match. We'll look at your banking if you are keeping the checkbook to make sure the bank balance and all the checks and deposits are in sync from the date of the backup. If you're using the accounting module, and many of you aren't, but if you are using it, we'll run the trial balance to make sure that's in sync. And again, if you are using the receivable, the main thing we'll want to look at is that the aging is correct. So this verification process should highlight any issues. People's Choice Classic is an older program, and there are a lot of different things that have come up when we've done some conversions. And so doing this as a two-stage conversion, if there are some issues that are just we haven't run into before, we'll at least know what we need to deal with when we go to convert the data before going live. So in terms of just to kind of get an idea, there's different categories of People's Choice Classic users. And I'm just showing you that when you open your People's Choice Classic, if it looks like the first one that's on the list where it just says payroll and disbursements, you might possibly be one that's only using this for payroll, but not the checkbook, or you may be using it for payroll and keeping track of the checkbook. And so those people would be the ones that would get the payroll with basic accounting. And the other would be you actually have added accounting and you are keeping a trial balance in a general ledger, and but you still aren't using receivables. So that those particular users, that's all they need is the basic accounting. And once that's converted, this is what your menu is going to look like. It'll have banking, and this is where the checks, and maybe you've played around with this with the new version in the demo company. And so instead of day-to-day operations, it's going to be basically banking. Oops. and your checks and deposits will be here, and your reports are going to be here. So once the data is converted, this will give you just kind of a little idea of the before and after, especially with the checkbook. So if this was your data in Classic, where you have the payroll and the checks and your bank balance showing on this screen, if you go into the banking journals with your converted data, it's going to look like this, which essentially has the same checks, has the same bank balance. And if we went through each one of these checks, it would show the same distribution of the expense. Your conversion is going to convert your chart of accounts and keep all the numbers you're used to. So if you're used to, like in this example, 66300 was your utilities expense account, it's going to be 66300 when we convert it. So if you're used to having your chart of accounts, both the name and the numbers, those are not going to change at all during the course of the conversion. So the overview of this conversion process is step 1, download, install, and activate PCA Desktop. And as I indicated in the beginning, most of you have already done that. And if you haven't, like I said, there's one person I haven't got a confirmation, but there's a submission of a request form that I think I must have skipped that page, but we'll review that again. And then step 2, and because I've gotten the backup already in October, you probably have already completed the September 2024 payroll. So that way we'll be able to do third quarter reports in the new version and compare them to your third quarter reports in the classic version. So once that's done, then make up the backup and upload to Safe Choice Customer Portal. There is a video on if you've never uploaded, and maybe we'll send that video out with the recording along with the assignments. But I think most of you have actually logged on to the customer portal and are familiar with the upload. So once we get the data converted, we will notify you, and we'll be uploading that to the customer portal where you can go and download. And the process will be just to open up your upgraded People's Choice desktop program and do the restore. And again, we have videos and can help walk you through that step. Once you get it restored, go ahead. You don't have to wait till next Thursday or whatever. Watch the video assignments that we're going to be sending out, and then go ahead and feel free to practice entering in checks and deposits, etc. after viewing those videos. And also, if you have questions that come up, the best time to write down those questions is at the time you run into it. And so you can either submit the question to the request form, or you can wait until next Thursday and bring it up during the Q&A of next Thursday. So the goal of next Thursday will be to recreate the first payroll in October. So we'd go back and use your classic first payroll and classic for October, and we'll regenerate that particular payroll in your converted data. Now, ideally, if you look at the video, it's an exact conversion. The taxes and everything match up. We will run into situations where on your first processing of the payroll in the new version, the new version doesn't, what we call an autocorrect as it relates to your Social Security and Medicare. And it's something that the classic version didn't do. So that very first calculation of your Social Security and Medicare may be off 3 to 10 cents difference, depending how much of the autocorrect. We can show you how to edit to match it up, but under the circumstances, what I think most of you are going to be using is to start on January 1st. And so they don't have to match exactly, and you'll be starting at 0. And so the autocorrect, I mean, it's going to have the correct amount starting out of the gate, starting then. So I want to also mention that we have an accountant copy available. And what that's for is many of the people that use People's Choice Classic either print out the totals or they give a backup to their accountant, and they have their accountant do the quarterly filings like the 941 and so forth. So if you're interested in having your accountant have a copy of it, submit your request for that at this link. Maybe Barb, I think we posted that before. This link was also in the email we sent out yesterday with the link to the Zoom meeting. And so I'd like you to go ahead and maybe bookmark this so that as questions come up or problems or whatever, we'd like you to use this particular request form, because we don't want to run it through our normal support and use up your support minutes. Anything that's run through here and we use office hours, will not be charging support. And since this is just a practice copy, we aren't going to be reviewing or viewing the problems that arise as critical because you're trying to do a payroll and get a paycheck out the door. If you were using the copy live, then it's a little more urgent. But if it's a problem, hopefully we can resolve it either at the next each Thursday's Q&A answer, or we can assign a special time where we can work through the problem should it be kind of an unusual problem that we haven't run into before. So those are the basic review on the chat. Maybe Barb, if you want to go ahead and post that link in the chat, and then go ahead and post those videos that I'm going to have them watch. That's going to be your assignment. To try and watch these 2 videos that do a quick overview of entering in checks and deposits and a quick overview of doing your first payroll processing. And after watching those videos, you should be able to try those features out in the converted data when you receive it. We will also be sending the link of these videos in the email that will be coming to you when we send you the recording of this session. Guys, was there any questions that have come up, Barb?
No, there haven't been any questions. I was trying to locate that particular one that you wanted me to post. And I can't find it right at the moment. So I'll find it and I'll do it at the end here.
Okay.
All right.
So let me see here. Pam, I know, is on here. Pam, I've been trying. I had gotten a backup from you, Pam, before. It was, I think, in late August. I'm going to want to get a new backup from you so that we can have your current payroll in there. So I'll plan to touch base with you again after our class here today. Is there anybody else on the class that they're not sure where they're at as it relates to uploading their backup or getting their People's Choice program activated, installed? If you are, please bring it up or go ahead and send it to that particular.
You can also raise your hand. Down at the bottom, there's a place you can raise your hand, or you can send it to us in a chat. So just go ahead and click on the chat. It's probably along the bottom of your screen. If you go down along the bottom, it should pop up and say chat. It might be along the side. It depends on your viewing options. But if you have any questions about that, let us know.
So evidently I must have covered everything properly as far as getting ready for next week's class. The purpose of today was to just kind of establish the format of how we'll be pursuing this and the strategy we'll be using. It is a little different than when we offered this class last year. Last year we tried to go live right out of the gate, and especially for those that use Receivable, it was a little challenging to try and keep 2 systems up to date all the way and then feel comfortable going live. So this year we thought it would be much better that we just do a conversion, use that for practice, get comfortable with the program. And so then when you're ready to go live, we get a new backup from your classic program and convert that. And then when you deliver it, you can take off. What you may want to do, let me see, there was, I think there was this. This is the link, by the way, that you can submit a question, and these are the questions. I think we skipped this screen in the beginning. But if you have questions, you can submit them through this form. It's like our technical request form, only it's just for these people in the masterclass. And we'll be monitoring this, so feel free to post to that at any time. If it's not a real urgent question, we'll just put it on the list of questions we'll answer at the next office hours, which will be every Thursday. And like I mentioned, since you're not going live, we don't want you to use your personal support time until you are ready to go live, so that save that for when you go live, and that way you're not using up time on something that you're going to start over with anyway. Many of the people that took the class last year, and I'm going to be true with some of the people in the group, you have more than one company to convert. We are going to be charging an additional charge for each company to convert. You get 2 conversions with the class. One, as we mentioned, from a strategy, that one for practice and one to go live. But you do have the option, if you decide that I can go live right out of the gate, but I'd rather use my second conversion for another company that I have for my personal books or whatever that other company might be. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you have 2 conversions. How you use those 2 conversions is up to you. But any conversion over 2 conversions will be $99 per company. And but I wouldn't recommend doing that until you feel comfortable with everything throughout the class, because when we do the conversion, you can pick up right where you left off in Classic if you decide to do it before the end of the year. So that covers everything. It sounds like there aren't any particular questions at this stage of the game. But we'll be, like I mentioned, this link was in the email I sent you yesterday. We'll be putting it probably in every email that we send out, but you may want to just go ahead and bookmark it. It isn't a page that you can just find by going to the website, but it is on our website, and it's specifically for the people that are in this class. So if there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the session. I'm going to stop the recording. And